ladies and gentlemen. My name is Julia Childless alongside Roxy, your face-off here at 9:30 at the Big O tournament in Eugene, Oregon. You are now watching the Portland Bridgetown Menace versus the Deep Valley Belligerents. Sure to be a very exciting bout here this morning at the Big O. Of course, yesterday we did not see Portland play. They had a day off to rest as they came into town. Deep Valley did 2 bouts yesterday. It was incredibly exciting to watch. We're going to do a couple of quick lineups just to let you know who's on the track. We have 143 Random Battle, 17 Elysium, 216 Jukebox Hero, 24 Earlsick, 27 Cougar Bait, 33 Blitzkrieg, 357 Demolition Man, 440 Captain Obvious, 512 Cosmo Damage, 69 Don John, 82 Munster, 85 Shreddy Mercury, 888 Kieran Duncan, and H8 Icky. That is your Portland Men's Roller Derby Bridgetown Menace. Go ahead.
All right, and for Deep Valley Belligerents All-Stars, number 13, Graves, number 16, Dr. Rotten, number 28, Downer, number 3, Culture Shock, number 33, Sloppy Joe, number 35, Paparazzi, number 40, Izzy Serious, number 415, Bad Billy, number 707, JB the Rockstar. Number 720, Disass Trick X. Number 76, Chemtrail. Number 98, Boy Band. Number 747, Billy Motion. Number 333, Derby Harry. Those are your Deep Valley Belligerents All-Stars.
Coaching for the Deep Valley Belligerents today are Black Star Heroine and Filthy One. And for the Portland Bridgetown Menace, we have Frenchie and Belle Star.
All right, do I need to know anything besides we're going to start calling?
We're going to start calling about it.
Okay.
What do you think? I'm going to try and write it up for DNN while we're doing this because it's a real pain in my arse, but
What are we supposed to be doing? A lot of action out there on the track between purple and red. Very physical bout so far.
So Deep Valley Belligerents, of course, pulling out that last 10 seconds 2-point win against Bay City yesterday night. That was an amazing, amazing bout to watch. So we're looking for some big things to happen today. Portland was watching that bout, and they are very aware of how Deep Valley plays, and they have played them several times before. So they have been doing their research and kind of know what they're looking for. But this is going to be a tough bout. 85 up to the line, Shreddy Mercury. Alongside 28, Downer, of course, Jonas Downer putting up big points for Deep Valley yesterday, and Shreddy Mercury, one of the star players in the bout against California yesterday as well. Shreddy Mercury pulling out the lead jammer status. Jonas Downer sneaking past Jukebox Hero at the front and able to pass. Shreddy Mercury having a tough time getting around Jukebox Hero, opening him up a spot. 747 from Deep Valley, jumping out from behind, but not quite able to catch him. JB the Rockstar just barely missing him, and he is able to pick up his 5 points.
Boy, these guys are definitely top of their game today. You can tell they've had a lot of rest, either that or a lot of coffee. Who knows?
I think probably a little bit of both. I had breakfast with some of them this morning, so.
Up there for Deep Valley is number 3, Culture Shock. Looks like he's up against number 17, Elysium.
Elysium taking a jump to the right, wanting the outside line. Culture Shock getting a push from number 98 from Deep Valley.
Elysium breaks out for lead jammer just right off the bat. And Julia, let's talk about lead jammer. There's probably some people here watching these bouts that really haven't watched a lot of derby. So basically, lead jammer means that they are the ones who are the only ones able to call off the bout. They are able to score points for their team just along with the other jammer as well. Julia?
Well, and for Portland this weekend, lead jammer has been a huge part of their strategy. They are so aware of the fact that in bouts against opponents of this level, that lead jammer is so incredibly important because it gives you all the control, and they have just been on top of their game getting that lead jammer position. That's all they've done. They just jump out in the front, they get it, they get their points, they're done, and they don't do a lot of messing around after that. And it really shows their style of derby that it works like that. Don John, the Devastator, up against, I'm sorry about that, Disastrix on the line. Don John, of course, taking yesterday off, and so he is completely fresh today. Both of those jammers are going to get recycled back right now. Don John taking the inside line, not quite able to get past number 40 from Deep Valley. Is he serious? And so Disastrix pulling off the lead jam for Deep Valley.
And it looks like we've got number 35, Paparazzi, that was sent to the penalty box.
Disastrix, great job there, catching the middle of the track and calling off that jam.
It's going to be really interesting to be watching the pack, not just the jammers on this bout, because these guys are moving so fast and they're so physical that there's a lot of action happening inside the pack. So make sure that you're really watching that pack, not just the jammers, as they're going around.
We're seeing that Shreddy Mercury Downer pair up again.
Looks like 28 Downer is up for Deep Valley. And it looks like number
Shreddy Mercury.
85, Shreddy Mercury, taking lead jammer for Portland Men's.
Munster doing a great job at the block on the outside, giving Shreddy his hole to go through and come around the pack. Again, Deep Valley, an incredibly aggressive team, incredibly intense, very physical. Portland, very calculating, and their pack works incredibly well together. They have great communication.
You can tell they're really communicating with each other out there on the track, and they huddle up before every jam, it looks like. So they've got some kind of crazy strategy going.
Culture Shock trying to take the inside line, but running directly into Earl Slick and Cougar Bait. Elysium able to battle out through Deep Valley and make his way around the track. In the meantime, we do have Deep Valley called on a penalty. Looks like it was a high block, if I'm not mistaken, and so Paparazzi once again headed to the penalty box.
Elysium doing some fancy footwork before he calls off the jam. We'll have to have like a signal or something.
Yeah, just tap me. If you see something and I'm not catching it, just go like this and I'll wrap it up and let you.
All right, up for your Deep Valley belligerents, red team, number 28, Downer. And it looks like he is up against number 440, Captain Obvious.
Yeah, I know them pretty well. Captain Obvious trying to make a quick run for the inside line. Not quite able to make it before getting hit out by Deep Valley's Sloppy Joe, but he is going to make his pass. He is not the lead jammer. There was a no pass, no penalty call, and so he will not be the lead jammer. Downer, on the other hand, does make it through after Captain Obvious, but does pick up that lead jammer status, and so Captain Obvious having to play a little bit of catch-up right now to try and make his way to the pack before Downer can. Downer taking advantage of that misfortune of Portland's picking up some points and calling off that jam, and so Downer picking up 3 points there. Again, a great demonstration of how lead jammer is so incredibly important.
And it's really difficult for them to break out and pick up lead jammer when the pack is so physical, they're having such a hard time getting through, and it's moving so fast that the other jammer's calling off the jam before any team can score any points a lot of times. All right, it looks like up for your red Deep Valley belligerents,
Disastrix and Shreddy Mercury.
Disastrix, and for Portland, Shreddy Mercury taking lead jammer.
Shreddy Mercury.
Calling for a team, I don't know.
Yeah. Shreddy Mercury picking up that lead jammer, but getting jammed up in the front with a couple of the Deep Valley players. Disastrix getting worked on by Portland in the back, and Shreddy looking like he might try and make another pass here before Disastrix makes it back through the pack. Of course, yesterday running into a little sound trouble here, and there was a lot of overlap Shredding Mercury having a couple of issues on track yesterday with calls that the players could not hear. So I think we have that sorted out today. Everybody looking very relaxed. He's got a very relaxed skating style. Shreddy always kind of looks like he's just sort of scoping out the situation, waiting for it to happen for him, and it generally does. Again, that communication between the Portland pack is really amazing. Derby Harry up against the Devastator.
It's very intense up there on the line right now. You can just feel it. Wow. That is one physical pack going on there. Neck and neck. Who
looked like a lot of pushing and
like
shoving there for a minute. Don Juan, the Devastator, trying to take a hit at Derby Harry, but Derby Harry just simply calling off that jam, not letting him get a chance to get there. So really good strategy there by both teams. Don Juan sort of forcing that call off of Deep Valley, and Derby Harry just, he's not even going to bite at that. He just said, oh, I'm just done.
Yeah, these jams are definitely going by so quickly. It is intense.
Well, it's very typical of what happened yesterday in these men's derby bouts, is you just have this very quick, very fast, and they have a good, each team has a good rotation of jammers, and so everybody gets a little bit of a chance to rest in between what they're doing. Wow, great job there by Deep Valley. A jammer on jammer hit on Elysium before the jam even starts, doesn't even give him a chance to think about it.
A lot of fancy footwork out there. Those toe stops are getting some really good workouts.
Culture Shock making his way through the pack, coming up against Jukebox Hero. Jukebox is going to have to let him go. He's going to call off that jam. He's looking for the 4 points. He does get it.
So right now we've got a score of Deep Valley 11 and Bridgetown 39 with 18 minutes left. Up for Deep Valley, 28, Downer. Looks like Downer takes lead jammer right off the bat.
I don't generally work it like that. I just call whatever I see on the track. So feel free to do that if you like. I feel like when you call for a certain team, it gets very broken up and choppy, and people feel like, oh, I can't call that because it's not my team. Like, just call what happens on the track, and if you see something, just announce it. And then nobody has to worry about it. If that's cool with you.
Disastrix and Devastator up there getting ready to break out. I can see the huddle going on. A lot of communication.
That might feel like it sounds a lot better, like if I say, oh, Disastrix, and you say Devastator or whatever, it sounds like very choppy, and I don't like it. Yeah, I don't like how it sounds. Dom on the Devastator getting tangled up right on the edge with what looks like number 707, JB the Rockstar. He's looking, oh my goodness, Dom on the Devastator getting that penalty. So we have Deep Valley on a power jam right now, but it looks like Deep Valley is just stopping that pack. And so Portland having to be forced to rejoin the pack. They do a great job, though, of recycling out number 720, Disastrix, and so he is forced to come back out and not make his initial pass. Again, Deep Valley trying to slow down that pack and stretch everybody out, but Portland forcing either the track cut or the recycle of Disastrix. So even on the power jam, Portland showing us some great strategy against this really hard-hitting Deep Valley team.
There's another track cut going on. Yeah, it looks usually on the power jam, you see one jammer just going around and around and scoring many, many points, but Portland is not allowing that to happen.
No, exactly, and I think with the shorter penalties that we're seeing now, it's harder and harder to score all those points on the power jam. Our power jam just switched out, it looks like, and Deep Valley's jammer Disastrix now in the penalty box. John the Devastator on a power jam for Portland. He is coming up against number 13, Graves. Graves right. Switching out his jammer cap today for his pivot cap.
Devastator managed to get through and scored another 4 points for his team. Wow, that is some crazy, crazy footwork. And he gets through for another 4 points. That's 8 so far on his power jam. There's another 5 points for Devastator.
And it looks like we have a penalty call right at the end of that jam on number 16, Dr. Rotten. It looked like it was a low block call. I'm not completely sure about that. I didn't catch it. Elysium and Derby Harry up to the line. Derby Harry's first showing here at the Big O today.
Wow, first showing, and he is definitely making it a great one.
Well, and I like that Deep Valley has such a great field of jammers to pick from. They can rest a jammer during a bout or during a day and then send them back in for the next bout, and then their jammers are rested when they come in.
Yeah, it does seem like all of their skaters are very versatile. You really need that on a Derby team. Derby Harry's up against Elysium this time. I believe they were paired before, and it was neck and neck. Derby Harry trying to find a hole in that wall. Portland is just blocking him out at every turn, but he manages to break free for lead jammer.
Cosmo Damage headed to the penalty box for Portland, and so Derby Harry battling it out with Elysium. Elysium having a heck of a time. Sloppy Joe and Chemtrail going after him, and he finally gets past them. Sloppy Joe picking up the penalty for that one, so he will sit. Derby Harry, in the meantime, looking for his points before he is forced to call off that jam with Elysium on his tail, and he does so. He will pick up 2 points.
We've got fans from the next track over that are rooting for these guys. Looks like we've got Shreddy Mercury up against Culture Shock.
Culture Shock doing a cut across Shreddy Mercury before he tries to jump through the pack. It doesn't quite work the way he expected, although Shreddy Mercury trapped for a few minutes there at the front of the bout, or excuse me, the front of the pack and behind JB the Rockstar. Culture Shock very closely pursuing Shreddy Mercury into the pack, and Shreddy looking like there wasn't even anything stopping him taking the inside line and picking up his points.
That's such a fast-moving track that sometimes it looks like the packs are just spread out all over the entire length of the track because they're moving so fast it's hard to stay together sometimes.
Go ahead, do it. Tell me what's happening. Tell me what's happening. You go. What's going on? Go.
Lots of big pileups going on out there on the track between Portland and Deep Valley. These guys are definitely being very aggressive, not showing any signs of stopping. Looks like we've got a penalty going on. Deep Valley is now on a power jam. Number 440, Captain Obvious, got sent to the box.
So that's Juke Blocks. Sorry. It's Juke Blocks and Blitzkrieg. Downer motioning for his pack to clear him a space. Unfortunately, Blitzkrieg and Munster putting up a lot of fight there. Munster is going to pull the penalty for that one, and he will sit.
Downer getting recycled to the back of the pack yet again, trying to break his way back through the Portland wall.
Jukebox Hero trying to stretch out that 20 feet as far as he can, and he does not do it, so he is headed to the penalty box for a destruction of pack call. The key is to pick something. You don't need to see everything. You start picking up and seeing more as you do it. The key is just to pick something that you see. So if you see that, like, Blitzkrieg is blocking whatever, say that. Forget about everything else that you see. Just pick something that you see and say it. And as you start saying different things and getting used to it, you'll start to see more things. And so it's kind of one of those that people think that I see things before they happen, but I know how the guys play. So I knew that when Munster and Cosmo did that, I saw that there was probably something that was going to happen. So I said Munster Cosmo. Munster went to the box. It sounded very flowy just simply because I saw it happen. I said what I saw, and sometimes it's a fluke. Sometimes I see something and then something else happens and I'm like, oh, that was convenient. Fantastic, you know? That makes me sound amazing. And sometimes it's just that I see something that I'm like, yeah, that's going to happen.
Elysium and Culture Shock up on the line. Looks like we've got a little bit of a delay here.
The key is just to pick something that you see happening and then say that. Don't feel like you have to get everything and you're not going to say anything. Yeah. Yeah. Don't look for the right thing. Just say whatever. A lot of stuff is happening. You're not at a loss for things that are happening on the track, and you're not going to catch everything. That's why there are two announcers. Because if you're seeing something here and I see something that happens over there, I can be like, okay, so I just saw this, you know, and that's when that, like, I'll do that a lot with people. I'll just touch them, and then I'll be like, okay, I saw something really cool. And do that. If you see something cool that happened, just go like this and say it. Be like,
looks like we've got an official timeout going on while the officials review something.
It definitely helps that I know the teams, but even with teams that I don't know, you just pick something that's cool that's happening on the track and be like, oh, this cool thing is happening. I should talk about that thing. Like right now, you can say that there is a huge disparity in the pack. There are only 4 people out there.
There's only 3 reds.
There are only 4 pack members. There are 2 purple and 2 red, but Jukebox just came back out. Say it. Do it.
So right now it looks like we've got some craziness going on in the packs. There were only 2 of each color pack member. We've got so many people in the penalty box. That's going to make for a very interesting jam.
Jukebox Hero rejoining his pack in the middle of that jam. And so we are adding people slowly as we go.
Quick shout out to all the people who are listening and watching live out there on the web. We really appreciate you tuning in.
Well, I'm really happy that they managed to stream all 3 tracks by yesterday. That means everybody can see something. Those of us who can't be at the tournaments, Beach Brawl is also going on right now in Florida, and we have a lot of people that are not in the area that can't be here but who are watching.
You can definitely feel the energy here at the fairgrounds. There are just so many people here, so many tracks, so much derby going on. People are just having such a great time. This is my first time at the Big O.
It's actually mine as well, surprisingly. I just haven't made it to this area while this has been going on yet. So for those of you looking for more Derby action, like I said, check out Derby News Network. They will be covering all of these all weekend. And check out Beach Brawl, which I believe is also streaming. In a couple weeks, you can check out Spring Roll out of Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Just a fun fact here about the Big O. There are 36 teams playing this weekend at the tournament. 17 of them are WFTDA teams, plus there's 4 B teams, plus 7 MRDA teams, 7 junior teams. That is pretty awesome. Very physical out there on the track, people getting knocked in and out left and right. Big wall of purple. Disastrix having a hard time getting through that. Billy Motion looking for someone to beat up.
He's holding the jammer panty in his hand. No, he was holding it in his hand. Oh. He can't get points unless he's wearing it. Don Juan the Devastator up to the line alongside Sloppy Joe. Sloppy Joe not typically a jammer for Deep Valley. He is one of their star blockers.
I think, Julia, that we have a really great view of what's going on and how the teams come together in communication and huddle on that line.
Well, I know that we definitely have a good look at that first section of play, and we actually have
looks like Sloppy Joe got recycled to the back of the pack, but did some crazy, crazy stunts and broke out. Still not lead jammer, though. Don Juan took it, called off the jam, no points were scored. Looks like up this time we've got Downer and Elysium. Two similarly sized and speed. Here we go.
Well, and Chris Austin, Elysium, has been playing for Portland for quite a while. Downer, of course, one of the stars of yesterday's bout, able to pick up a ton of points for Deep Valley when they played.
Looks like Downer just broke out extremely quickly, slicing around that track. And then we've got more red going to the box as well.
And this is not a particularly penalty-heavy bout, but it is a lot heavier than either of the bouts that I saw yesterday.
I think they just haven't had enough coffee to wake them up yet. We'll see more penalties at the next bout. All right, looks like we've got a team timeout for Deep Valley.
So just a reminder to all skaters during this timeout that if you are on skates, you need to be in full gear all the time. If you are on your roller skates, there are officials everywhere. They will stop you. They will tell you to put your mouth guard in or your wrist guards. And I personally can't tell you the number of skaters that have told me that they were just standing on their skates and fell over and broke their wrist. So, you know, at the very least, if you're going to hurt yourself, do it in a blaze of glory on the track and not just standing there on the sidelines and fall down. I mean, that's what I do.
Something else to just keep in mind, all these people that you see here in the pink shirts and the striped shirts, they are all volunteers giving up their time to make all of this happen. So give them some love, and if you see a pink shirt or a zebra, just stop on by and give them a big old bear hug. Shreddy Mercury and Culture Shock working hard to get past each other.
Both of these teams, in case those of you who are wondering about men's championships, which is in Seattle this year in October, both of these teams are ranked in the top 8 currently. So they will be appearing at championships provided that no rankings change in between now and October, which they are sure to with some of the bouts that are coming up. So Deep Valley will be battling for this entire season to keep their number 8 spot coming in. Bridgetown sitting pretty comfortably at 6 right now.
JB the Rockstar made a great valiant effort to keep the purple bag. It just did not work. They were overpowering. Looks like we have a panty pass, and now number 33, Sloppy Joe, has taken over for jammer for Deep Valley. All right, the score is now Deep Valley 43, Bridgetown Menace 98. Downer and Captain Obvious going to be fighting for the points. Captain Obvious punches that first hole and goes down, but still retains lead jammer.
Oh, looks like Captain Obvious called on the track cut. So Jonas Downer with the power jam opportunity here for Deep Valley. Deep Valley, of course, down by several points, 43-98.
Downer giving direction to his pack mates right there on the track, telling them exactly where he wants them to go and where he wants those holes to be so he can slam through. There he goes again, giving great communication.
Good catch, good. Portland trying to stretch out their bridge quite a bit, but they do have to let him go. Munster and Cougar Bait backing up. Downer with 5 more points for Deep Valley, and Captain Obvious has rejoined the pack now. So Downer looking like he's going to try and catch a couple of more points, but he is watching closely, calls off that jam.
That was great. 27 Cougar Bait just absolutely smashed Downer on the track, trying to keep him from getting past before he called off the jam. Just a little over 1 minute left in this half. Derby Harry and Devastator up on the line. Derby Harry getting pushed out and recycled, while Devastator punches through. Looks like Devastator is getting called out, sent to the box for a track cut. That puts Derby Harry on the power jam. A big purple wall of Portland trying to keep Derby Harry from getting through. No pack is called. They've got to let him go, but he gets a track cut.
Derby Harry with a great move there on the outside, and even with the new rules, it's very touchy because both of his skates did go over that line. And I know that he thought he was in, and that's so frustrating when you think you've just squeezed past and you haven't quite made it.
Yeah, and the same exact thing happened to Devastator just a few minutes back. Devastator picking up another 5 points for Portland. Devastator working to punch his way through that big wall of red. Looks like he got a nice hole cleared.
Yeah, Munster with the assist there for Portland, and this is not what Deep Valley needs right now. This is really frustrating because they're already behind. They could use the extra points, and Portland taking that power jam. And Dom on the Devastator is one of the worst people to have on your power jam if you are playing against Portland because he is so agile, and he takes that opportunity so strongly.
He is. Did you see that footwork that Devastator just did, trying to keep himself inside the line? That was amazing.
Yeah, he used to be a jam skater. Okay, and we are at the half here at your Portland Deep Valley Belligerents bout. They are going to take a quick break. We are at 108-61 in favor of the Bridgetown Menace. Still a very close bout here. That's an easy gap to close as they go into the half. So Deep Valley is going to be having some conversations about what to do about that, and we will see you back here now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are nearly set to start our second half here with the Bridgetown Menace Deep Valley Belligerents on track 3 at the Big O. I am sitting here next to Roxy, your face-off, and she is. She is Roxying everybody's face-off today.
That's only because I have you as my partner in crime.
Oh, that is very kind, ma'am. I do enjoy announcing the men's roller derbies. I have to give a quick shout out now that I have a little bit of a gap to the Men's Roller Derby Association out there Just a group of people that work really hard to make sure that things run well for all these teams. And to all the teams that can't be here for whatever reason, we miss you. We wish you were here. I would send a postcard, but you can see the track, so you know that I wish you were here seeing the awesome action. Just to give you a quick catch-up, Deep Valley, of course, coming in from about a couple of bouts yesterday. Portland coming in from a bout yesterday, so everybody's had a little bit of time to get used to the track. We have a score right now of 108-66 in favor of the Bridgetown Menace. We have an amazing group of volunteers here this weekend, referee staff, NSOs. It's been pretty amazing. We have Shreddy Mercury up to the line alongside Culture Shock, and we are going to get the action started right now.
You were talking about the officials. There's actually 112 officials at the Big O tournament.
Culture Shock picking up the lead jam for Deep Valley Belligerents, but he is not going to get far with Shreddy Mercury hot on his tail. Looks like Demolition Man starting out alongside what I believe is Munster in the penalty box for Portland.
And that was a very quick jam called off quickly with no points scored. Everybody is stepping up their game.
Excuse me, that is Random Battle in the penalty box alongside Demolition Man.
Looks like Downer and Elysium going head-to-head this time around. Those are some very serious-looking pivots out there.
Wow, Chris Austin, Elysium, laying a big hit on Downer, and he is going to just recycle all the way to the back or the front of the pack, as the case may be.
I don't think I have ever seen a recycle go that far back.
Well, and this is kind of what happened yesterday when we had the Portland bout against the Drive-By City Rollers. There was a 6-point jam that a lot of people were very confused about, including myself. I have to admit, I had never seen a 6-point jam before, and that's exactly what happened, was that somebody backed up the jammer back into the pack that far, which means they passed them once, and since the initial pass hadn't officially happened, they passed them again, picked up their 5 points plus the one from before, and that's how you ended up with that 6-point jam, and that's exactly how that 6-point jam happened.
Wow, I have never seen that happen before. I wish I was here yesterday.
It was a very exciting bout, and a lot of very strange things happened.
Don Juan the Devastator up against Derby Harry. These two are often paired together, and that makes for some very interesting derby.
Well, in Derby Harry's first major tournament that he's been in, so he's doing a great job for his first showing out here. Don Juan the Devastator, kind of old hat at this, but really, really fantastic nonetheless, taking the inside line, doing a great job at getting through. Derby Harry not quite able to sneak past around the outside, so he is going to try and battle his way through Munster on the outside line and Jukebox Hero. Of course, this Jukebox Hero Munster line is really hard to get past, and they're a pretty standard for Portland. Jukebox Hero going to stretch that 20 feet back out again like he does in the front and force Derby Harry to spend some time on that while Don Juan the Devastator picks up his 4 points and calls off that jam.
Just a guess, but I think the Ole Rollers are getting ready to play.
They are playing on track 2, just adjacent to us.
Looks like we've got Culture Shock and Shreddy Mercury out there on the track. Shreddy Mercury just hopped through so fast for lead jammer, but Culture Shock is definitely hot on his trail. A lot of action happening within the pack, and it is moving so fast that they're having a hard time getting hits on each other. It's really hard to score points when that pack is moving so fast because they've got to keep up with the pack and get past the pack, breaking holes at that top speed. Looks like Culture Shock got recycled to the back of the pack again, trying to make his way through a 2-wall of purple. Shreddy Mercury just taking his leisurely time, picking up 5 points going around the track. It's slowed down a little bit, so it's a little bit easier now to get through. Culture Shock gets sent to the box for a track cut and a whole big pile up of red out there on the track. Shreddy Mercury picking up another 5 points for Portland. The track is pretty much stopped, just waiting, letting him get through there because he is on a power jam. Picking up another 5 points for Portland is Shreddy Mercury. Looks like Portland Pivot just got sent to the box, number 27, Cougar Bait. I didn't see what the call was. Did you see what that was?
I did not see what the call was either, unfortunately, but he will sit, leaving Portland a little bit short. Shreddy Mercury slowing down slightly.
Picking up another 5 points.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looks like he's just trying to kind of run down the clock a little bit. And he did that.
What was that, 25 point power jam for Portland?
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of those things that's not very common anymore with that short penalty time. But Shreddy Mercury sort of forces those things. If he wants the extra points, he'll find a way to get them. And his pack is so cognizant of what he's doing that they make that happen.
Absolutely.
That was a really great call. That was a really great call, Jason, what you did. It was awesome. It was perfect. Jonas Downer and Elysium.
Looks like we've got Downer and Elysium out there on the track now.
With a very short-lived
It
jam.
was very short.
Looks like there was a no pass, no penalty called for Portland. And they just reset that jam to put a few other people out, and that happens on occasion. It was a really smart move for Deep Valley.
They made it halfway around the track, I think, before it got called off. Shortest jam ever. Devastator and Derby Harry paired together again. Looks like Devastator breaking out for lead jammer so quickly.
Devastator, so used to taking that inside line, it just works for him so often that I think it's just kind of a go-to for him.
He just bobs and weaves through the pack. It's absolutely amazing to watch him skate.
Jukebox Hero not quite able to make it to help him with that, that pass, so he does call that off. Some stellar blocking happening by Graves from Deep Valley right there, just not going to let him through. And I can't imagine what it's like to have Dumb on the Devastator coming at you that fast and just decide to hold your ground, but he did.
That is some major dynamite in a small package.
Definitely.
All right. Looks like Downer and Shreddy Mercury out there again. Looking for holes in the pack. We've got very solid walls of both purple and red. It's always amazing to me how they can keep it so tight together at those top speeds. Shreddy Mercury breaking out for lead jammer.
And that is something that Deep Valley does incredibly well. They have very, very solid walls that they work with. And as long as they keep their walls together, they usually do very, very well. Chemtrail taking on Cosmo as he comes around the outside, and he is able to break through a wall and pick up those couple extra points.
I love watching the apex jumps. Those are awesome. Looks like we've got Culture Shock and Elysium up on the line.
About 21 minutes left to go in this half. Elysium having no problem taking the outside line. Culture Shock getting a big push out from Demolition Man. Demolition Man backing him way up. Cougar Bait filling in the hole in the bridge, forcing Culture Shock all the way back. And Elysium taking
like
some
pinball.
taking some big pushing around. Just bouncing in between that Deep Valley pack, like you said.
And did you see number 33, Sloppy Joe, just absolutely smashed him on that pivot block.
Exactly. Culture Shock finally managing to get through. Demolition Man joining Jukebox Hero, and Earl Slick in the penalty box, so Portland filling their penalty box and leaving only Cougar Bait until Juke Block's hero rejoins the pack.
And boy, Cougar Bait was definitely trying to make some mincemeat out of that team.
Portland running into some big penalty trouble in that last jam, and so they are skating short with only Cosmo Jamage and Juke Block's hero on the line.
Shreddy Mercury and Derby Harry.
Looks like they're going to switch out and put Cosmo and Munster out there. So that line we talked about before. Derby Harry looking for that hole, and his pack trying to find it for him with only 2 blockers. Shreddy Mercury, taking a big hit from Deep Valley, number 76, but managing to stay on his skates. Looking for Munster and Cosmo Damage to give him a hand.
You could tell he was not happy about that big hit. Looks like Derby Harry getting recycled to the very back of the pack again. And number 82 from the Portland men's team, Munster, doing his best to keep him from getting back into the pack.
And it looks like they're leaving Shreddy Mercury kind of on his own up at the front there. Demolition Man trying to give him a hand. Looks like Portland back at full strength in the pack. And Demolition Man picking up another penalty. So he will be headed back to the penalty box.
707 and 720, JB the Rockstar and Disastrix really doing a great job trying to keep that Portland Jammer from getting through. Now it's a very solid wall of red for Shreddy Mercury to try to break through. .24 Earl Slick trying his best to get his jammer through, but it is just too solid.
Dr. Rotten for Deep Valley headed to the penalty box. Shreddy Mercury picking up 5 more points, but Deep Valley made it incredibly difficult for him to do so. Munster now headed to the penalty box. Demolition Man rejoining the pack for Portland. Earl Slick taking on Chemtrail, trying to open up a hole for Shreddy Mercury, and it works, but he is taken on the other side by number 707, JB the Rockstar.
And Disastrix taking over the panty. Got a team timeout for Deep Valley. Why does it say Deep Valley Village here, but Bridgetown Menace there?
Bridgetown Menace is the Portland name, and Deep Valley is, yeah. You're good. It looks like we are working on a team timeout right now. So we have some discussing happening. For those of you at home, thank you for joining us from the comfort of your own homes. We wish you were here. It's pretty fabulous here at the Big O. For those of you in the building, the television set between track 1 and 2 will be streaming the track 1 stream all day. It's a little bit crowded on track 1. It happens to be where the vendors are and where a lot of the big bouts of this weekend are happening. So if it's a little crowded in there for you, you don't want to sit in all the people. The screen in between track 1 and 2, where the Wild Duck Cafe is, will be streaming track 1 all day, so you can grab yourself a little bit of a snack and a drink and kind of sit a little more quietly and watch that on the big screen. Downer and Don Juan the Devastator up to the line.
And again, Devastator just breaks through. He is just such a lightning firecracker. It's amazing to watch him skate. That pack is going so fast, but he is definitely keeping up. And it looks like Downer through as well. Oh, Devastator goes down, but pops right back up and gets through again for another 4 points before calling off the jam.
So with 17 minutes left to go in this bout, we have a score of 167 to 168 in favor of the Bridgetown Menace.
Looks like Elysium and Culture Shock will be heading up this jam. Looks like a delayed start. When that whistle went off, they just kind of sat there thinking about it for a second. Let's see if that pays off. Portland making a valiant effort, but Culture Shock breaks out for lead jammer. .512 Cosmo damage, making Culture Shock recycle very far into the back, giving Elysium a chance to catch up. Looks like one more point scored for Deep Valley.
Both teams mixing it up just a little bit now. We don't see the Downer Shreddy Mercury matchup a lot.
That's true, and it is becoming a little more common, it looks like. So I'm wondering if they've talked about a strategy.
Shreddy Mercury taking the inside line, just deciding this time to push his way through while his pack handles Jonas Downer. Downer getting trapped behind that Portland wall, and Shreddy Mercury getting a track cut call, headed to the penalty box. Jonas Downer, Deep Valley Belligerents on a power jam, and a chance to close up that point differential as he comes around the corner. Portland very aware of where he is in the pack. Demolition Man taking him on at the front alongside Munster. And Downer just pushing his way through until they have to let him go due to that 20 feet. And it looks like Munster, or excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry, Icky headed to the penalty box. My apologies. Jukebox Hero stretching out that line once again, taking on Downer, forcing that last point out of him. And so Downer does manage to pick up a couple extra points. He's going to take on Portland up at the front as Jonas Downer is released from the penalty box. Shreddy Mercury, a back block call as soon as he hits the track, and so he will be headed to the penalty box once again. Deep Valley Belligerents resetting for another power jam with Culture Shock.
It's getting a little bit more penalty heavy as we go along. I think that they're really feeling the tension and trying to get every last point that they can.
Yeah, well, and they're skating. Both of these teams are very hard-hitting, fast-moving teams, and so when you have that much physical activity happening in the pack, they're going to wear out a lot faster, and with that comes some miscalculations as far as what you can do and how you can do it. Cosmo damage and Munster kind of baiting Culture Shock there, making it look like there's a hole when there isn't. Earl Slick just kind of letting them do their thing as he covers the inside line, and now Icky re-released from the penalty box as they try and close up that wall. Oh my goodness, number 40 from Deep Valley Belligerents, Izzy Sirius, just breaking it up and giving Culture Shock a space to go, but somebody recycles Culture Shock to the very back. Icky has him trapped behind the Portland pack.
Two more purple going to the box. Number 82, Munster, and number Hater, Icky. They are going to be joined by number 747, Billy Motion from Deep Valley.
And so like you said, a lot more penalty heavy for this half. 4 points for Culture Shock as Shreddy Mercury heads back out onto the track for another penalty.
Culture Shock doing his best to punch through that wall of two. And now he's up against one, number 512. And he breaks through, picking up another 5 points for Deep Valley. getting reset here for another jam. Looks like we're going to have Downer and Deep Valley on a power jam right off the bat. Definitely can feel the crowd trying to give them some energy here.
Just to give you a quick idea of, I had a couple people ask about penalties. Shredder Mercury picking up his only 3 penalties in this last couple of minutes of play. The rest of his bout has been completely clean. He hasn't touched the penalty box in the first half at all. So his last 3 penalties picked up only in this last few minutes. Demolition Man as well, sitting with 4 penalties. Like I said, all 3 of which has been picked up in this half alone in the last few minutes. So Portland definitely feeling that pinch from Deep Valley and miscalculating a lot of their plays. JB the Rockstar from Deep Valley sitting with 5 penalties right now. So he is in some pretty close penalty danger if he's not careful coming into the last quarter of this bout.
Shreddy Mercury has rejoined the jam, but it was a little too late as we get called off. No points scored that pass. Just over 11 minutes to go, and the score does appear to be kind of evening out a little bit.
Yeah, Deep Valley taking advantage of that high percentage of Portland penalties that's been happening in the last few minutes and really hitting hard with their scoring.
And here we go with that pairing of Elysium and Derby Harry again. Elysium breaking out, just shredding through. Derby Harry getting recycled to the back of the pack again. Those purples are just making a very solid wall. Portland doing a great job of defending.
Unfortunately for Deep Valley, Elysium picking up 5 extra points while Derby Harry is still trapped in the back of that Portland bout. Cosmo Damage and Earl Slick along with Munster trying to force him out. Earl Slick laying him out at the front of the track. Good clean hit. And he is able to get up, but Earl Slick giving Munster a hand, and it looks like Cougar Bait once again headed to the penalty box. I didn't catch the call. High block.
All right, it looks like we're going to have Downer and Don Juan the Devastator giving some friendly fist bumping going on out there.
Well, it is one of the things I really appreciate about Derby in general, and especially men's Derby, is everybody has a lot of respect for what's happening here on the track and the level of skill and work that goes into this. So despite what happens, I think people are pretty good-natured about the whole thing.
Absolutely. Devastator goes down over a pile of red, but he's so fast to get back up.
Yeah, boy, that's really uncommon for him too, but Deep Valley giving him a hard time right out of the box. And once again, number 707, JB the Rockstar trying to block him out. And it does work for a little while. Jonas Downer picking up lead jammer for Deep Valley. That is just what Deep Valley needs. And Don Juan the Devastator still battling his way through. And he is finally able to make his pass, but we have a no pass, no penalty called.
Yeah, I think that Deep Valley they're switching up their strategy with Devastator, just trying to force him out as much as they possibly can, and it certainly paid off this jam.
Just get him off the track, and he's probably safer. They do pick up 3 points on that jam, so it seems to be working.
Absolutely. I wouldn't want Devastator coming up behind me, so I don't blame them.
Yeah, boy, people ask me why I don't play, and this is exactly why right here. Okay, we do have a Portland timeout that's happening. This is a good time to talk about a few little housekeeping things, pay a couple of bills that are going on. We do have some raffles that are also being given away today. We did a couple of those yesterday. Pork. Who doesn't love pork? We all love pork. Pork is published out of Eugene and partners with ECRG. Pork is not for squares. I definitely agree with that. I think they are talking about a published magazine called Pork. which
I certainly hope so.
quite frankly, that sounds amazing as well. So Ninkasi, the official beer of the Emerald City Roller Girls. Check out Ninkasi. We do have it here in-house. You can also head to the Horse Head if you are looking for some place to eat tonight. A longtime supporter of the Emerald City Roller Girls. It is right here in Eugene. If you're looking for some great food, they do have delicious food. And if you're looking for news on roller derby or anything else, you can check out the Eugene Weekly. They proudly support the Emerald City Roller Girls, hosts of this year's Big O tournament. If you're looking for more derby action, stay tuned. We have 3 tracks going all day today. You can check out the streaming. You can check out Derby News Network. And if you're also looking for more roller derby, Beach Brawl is happening out in the Florida area. So if you're looking for warmer roller derby, you can check them out. And if you're looking for some big action, you can check us out.
Absolutely. All right, looks like we've got Culture Shock, and he is up against Elysium.
Elysium looking like he had no trouble picking up that lead jam this time, and Culture Shock just trapped in behind Jukebox Hero and Blitzkrieg. Blitzkrieg is such a big guy, and he looks like he sort of rolls, but not really. He sort of slides. He's really hard to move, and so him and Jukebox Hero together make a heck of a blocking team. Earl Slick coming up to the front, trying to break a hole open for Elysium. Unfortunately for Elysium, Deep Valley Graves is there, along with number 16, Dr. Rotten.
Sorry, Elysium was having a little bit of a hard time there getting through, and he got knocked out and over, but he popped right back up, and now he's gone around, picking up another 5 points for Portland. Looks like Culture Shock rejoining after being sent out for a penalty, and he's gotten around and called out again for a track cut. He was only out of the box for just a few seconds. He did pick up, Elysium picked up another 4 points.
No, it looks, that is correct. Elysium picked up those 4 points, and it does look like Culture Shock picked up a track cut call right at the end of that jam. So we have Shreddy Mercury up to the line for a Portland Power Jam.
That's what I just said.
Did you just say that?
I did.
Wow, I must have been watching something else. I don't even need to be here. You're amazing. It's really hard to hear each other in this room. It's very echoey, and we have another track happening on the other side as well. So sometimes we don't hear each other really well.
That's why we're getting so close, so we can hear each other.
Well, yeah, it's like snuggling, really. Announcer snuggling over here behind the table. Shreddy Mercury making short work of his lead jammer status, and he has Demolition Man bringing up the rear as he tries to take on the Deep Valley pack by himself. What he's having Portland do is just slow down to a stop to give him space. Oh, Culture Shock ducking in between and underneath the Portland pack. I don't think they were expecting that, and it nearly worked.
Number 33, Sloppy Joe, circling like a shark, trying to look for someone to push out of bounds.
Culture Shock doing a great job just working on the Portland pack. One at a time, comes around the outside line, just skates the line around Munster and manages to sneak past. Amazing job there, and Shreddy Mercury pushing him out and recycling all the way to the front / back of the pack. So he's trying to force the pack to swallow him back up, and it will work.
And we went from a slow-moving pack now back to a fast-moving pack. Shreddy Mercury still trying to pick up some more points there for Portland. Deep Valley making it very difficult for Shreddy Mercury to get through. He is stopped while he looks back to his team, seeing if they can get up there and help him. Number 82, last line of defense, pushing Culture Shock out of bounds, trying to make a hole for Shreddy Mercury. Deep Valley picks up another 4 points, Portland another 5.
We have about 4 minutes left to go in this bout. 196 to 110, led by the Portland Bridgetown Menace here on track number 3 at the Big O tournament, streaming live from Eugene, Oregon.
Downer and Don Juan, the Devastator, paired up again. Looks like Deep Valley is trying to use that same strategy as before, just trying to keep Don Juan off the track.
And it did work this time. Jonas Downer picking up lead jam status and coming around. Deep Valley watching for him, trying to break him up a hole.
Portland demonstrating great communication out there on the track. They are definitely doing an amazing job there, keeping Deep Valley back, and the jam is called off.
Looks like each team accruing 1 point on that pass.
Elysium and Sloppy Joe this time.
Yeah, Sloppy Joe, his second time up to the line today. And like I said before, he is not standard a jammer. He is one of the key blockers for the Deep Valley Belligerents. I would guess that they're trying to sort of mix things up just a little bit and see if they can, you know, make things happen with a little bit of a change up, rest their jammers a bit.
And we do have a Portland timeout now.
So later on in the weekend, at the very last bout, the WFTDA teams will vote one MVP blocker and jammer from the opposing team for each game played. These MVPs will play against Team USA, the best skaters in the world, during a half-hour exhibition bout Saturday night at 7 p.m. This will be the last game of the tournament, so Sunday night at 7 Pacific Standard Time. Be sure you tune in for that, because that is going to be a lot of fun to watch. We do have after parties happening. If you are in town, check us out tonight. We are going to be at the Saturday after party at the Valley River Inn. DJ Agent Meow from Rose City. And I have heard him DJ. He is phenomenal.
Should be very interesting. All right, looks like we're getting back to the action with Elysium and Sloppy Joe. I am very intrigued at how this jam is going to go.
Well, Sloppy Joe, a very physical player, a lot of contact that happens, so I'm expecting that he's going to do a lot of pushing and shoving to try and get through. I'm actually really surprised that he didn't lay into Elysium as soon as he could, so I kind of thought that might happen. But it looks like he decided to take on the Portland pack instead. Elysium picking up lead jam status. Sloppy Joe finally managing to break through, taking on Captain Obvious at the front of the pack. Obvious having to let him go. And he is going to try and make a scoring pass. Elysium taking a huge hit from Deep Valley's Billy Motion. Looks like we have a track cut called on Demolition Man, and he will head to the penalty box.
Yep, and Sloppy Joe is still trying to get his way out of the pack there. Elysium being forced to recycle.
Elysium waiting on Sloppy Joe to make it to where he is. Killing off a little bit of track time there. Captain Obvious forcing Sloppy Joe out, and Munster bringing up the second in that. Sloppy Joe 4 points as he comes around, and Elysium still at the back of the Deep Valley pack finally calls it off and accrues 3 points.
That one totally was trying to kill off track time. Because we're at, I mean, they were at like 4 minutes, so the more track time he can cut off and just fiddle around, the more tired he makes Sloppy Joe, the less chance they'll have to put in a new jammer and get more points. Sloppy Joe's not a very strong jammer, he's a stronger blocker. So strategically, it's a really good move for Elysium, so they don't need to worry about him getting a few extra points, and then they can kill a lot.
Shreddy Mercury kind of motioning, no big deal. I got the lead jam, it's cool.
Downer trying to punch his way out of the track, out of the pack. Getting past
Caking on
number
Kieran
888.
Duncan at the front as Cosmo Damage tries to gap the bridge. And Shreddy Mercury coming around the inside, picking up 4 more big points for Portland.
Chemtrail took a big hit there.
Shreddy Mercury doing a little wave and an I love you to Rob Lobster standing on the sidelines here.
Downer recycled to the back of the pack, trying to punch his way back through. He is knocked down while Shreddy Mercury leisurely makes his way around the track.
Shreddy Mercury watching the clock pretty carefully for Portland as Jonas Downer collects 4 more points and Kieran Duncan heads to the penalty box. And he will call off that jam, and that is the end of our bout. Your unofficial final, 209-119 in favor of the Bridgetown Menace over the Deep Valley Belligerents here at the Big O.
It has definitely been a pleasure calling for these 2 amazing men's teams.
Okay, we're going to do some high fives. Please join us all day. The next men's bout is in a couple of hours here on track number 2. It will be, I believe, the Portland Bridgetown Menace taking on the Puget Sound Outcast Roller Derby. It will be Puget Sound's first game of the tournament. Portland's played a couple, so Portland coming in, with a little bit of practice under their belt, but Puget coming in very, very rested. So we'll see how that goes. That's sure to be an amazing bout. Please check that out. Roxy, your face-off, thank you so much for joining me here on the microphone at the Big O.
Absolutely. Miss Julia Childless, you have been an amazing partner.
We are signing off. This is Roxy, your face-off alongside Julia Childless saying thank you from the Big O, and we will see you later.